Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to episode 2 of Illuminati in Italy. Today we are playing as Florence and doing some more conniving, murdering, backstabbing, allying, and role-playing our way through I guess now we're towards the time of the actual Renaissance, and getting a foothold in Italy and Rome. So let's jump right back on in. For those of you who are playing the home game and are keeping track of what's happened so far, in last episode, we took Lucca and Siena. We extended these two small nations the once-in-a-lifetime opportunity of coming under our influence and our protection. Unfortunately, we had to levy a small tax against both of them because so many of our soldiers died while trying to extend them that offer. Truly upsetting. Anyway, since then, Austria has demanded our unlawful territory in return. They have demanded that Lucca be released or at least returned to them. Now, this is unfortunate. We want good relations with the Emperor. We truly, truly do. Unfortunately, we don't quite recognize their hold over the Italian lands. In fact, most of the Italian states are wavering as to their membership in the Empire, and we're certainly not going to allow the Emperor to take territory from us, not in so pivotal a time, so we must decline the Emperor's very gracious offer. As anticipated, this has made him quite mad with us. But we are simply going to have to deal with that fact. Now, we are training up more soldiers, we are fabricating more claims, we are dealing with unrest. It's all fun and games. See, German nations, however, we've been informed that Mainz has accepted the demand for unlawful territory from the Emperor Austria. Heidelberg is now owned by the Palatinate. See, Mainz had to return their territory. Unfortunately, they're much, much closer to Austria and less arguably outside of Austria's sphere of influence than we are. Now, we are nearing full size on our military. Excellent. Unfortunately, I believe that some of our military administrators were rather ridiculous and attempted to train regiments underneath a province that is already focused on building a ship. Rather stupid. Now, we must begin trying to plot what our second course of action will be. We have a claim that we've already fabricated, one actually, on the Papal State. This looks like it's on Urbino, but they are a vassal. We have a claim that we are currently fabricating on Ferrara. We have a claim we're currently fabricating on Milan. We can fabricate some more on Genoa and some more on the Papal State. Ah, yes, we have a cardinal now. In Florence. Despite the fact that the Pope doesn't really like us, there's not much he can do about the fact that we are liked elsewhere and our prestige is quite high. There we go. We shall simply dismiss that man. We don't need that regiment. Ah, yes. Proud, proud Florentine army. Now, we have to begin scheming what's going to happen next, and we also have to keep discussing who our allies and enemies are going to be. We know quite well who our enemies are going to be for the most part, but we have to think about going forward who we might begin targeting. Ah, more technology is available. Excellent. Make some military research happen. Very good. Very, very good. See, Florence is truly prospering under the direct lead of the Illuminati. I fear that with the death of Cosimo, they won't be so, shall we say, reasonable about our leadership. But, at any rate, we shall continue fabricating claims on our neighbors just to ensure that should a war break out, we will be free and clear to begin marching to war against them. Let's see what's happened. Unhappiness among the clergy. Conflict of opinion and interest over religious and secular matters between our government and our nation's religious authorities has upset the clergy. Truly unfortunate. We can either ignore their demands, lose some papal influence, and the clergy will lose loyalty. For those of you, breaking character for a moment, for those who haven't played the game since the drop of the Cossacks, there are now estates, and you have to basically balance their loyalty to make sure that nothing goes too horribly awry. This early in the game, their loyalty is all the same and their influence is all about the same. The burghers have a little bit more, just because their controlled province gives them more influence than the others do. At any rate, we can either ignore their demands, and the clergy will lose 10 loyalty, and we will lose 10 papal influence, which really doesn't matter. The Pope doesn't like us enough to let us have influence. Or we can try to gain loyalty and gain papal influence at the cost of our prestige. No, our prestige in secular affairs is far more important at this stage. So we're going to go ahead and decline. Alright, there we are. We are almost done with our core of Lucca, and thereby it will be inarguable that Lucca is definitely a part of Florence and always has been, as we have been trying to state. Ah, yes, but now the estates want territory. First, we will give the nobility some land. Oh, we'll just give them Siena. Put them close to the border with the Pope in case something, awry should break out. And we'll give Lucca to the burghers because they need more coastal provinces for their ships and for trade. It's much more profitable for all of us. The Illuminati are not let's say, ridiculous in their demands. We just want very basic things and think the world should be governed in a very specific way. We're not going to be outwardly brutal. These are our own people we're talking about. Now, one of the plans we have to have moving forward is if we're going to move north, if we're going to move south, if we're going to try and take on the Pope. And also, again, as I stated at the beginning of the video, we have to figure out who our allies are going to be. Now, Austria is very, very unhappy with us. We recently declined one of their requests for our unlawful territory, or rather, should I say, demands for unlawful territory, which means that they have a very hostile attitude towards us right now. They believe we hold territory that does not belong to us. And look at them. Hypocrites, declaring war on another small province that they're likely going to take and conquer. Hypocrites, all of them. Ooh, France, normally quite a dominant power, is currently being one-upped by Burgundy. I don't know where France's army is, but it appears that Burgundy's forces have spilled across the border and have begun sieging multiple areas. That complicates the sphere of things, because if we ally Aragon, we know that they've been rivaled by France. If we ally Burgundy, we know they've been rivaled by Austria, as well as by Aragon, as well as by France. If we try to ally England, they've been allied by Austria, but they've been rivaled by Burgundy and France. It's truly a precarious situation. We might have to focus on getting some smaller allies from within Italy before we try and go for a big ally outside of it. Now, let's see, where else should we fabricate a claim? Well, while we're just simply fabricating claims, we'll get some more claims on the land here. Make sure that if a war should break out, we can simply sweep through. Oh my goodness. The Papal State has devoured Ferrara whole. My goodness, and they're allied to France. Oof, this does not bode well. They've essentially cut off our advance to the north and west. Unfortunately, what that means is I think our decision has been made for us. We'll have to advance to the north and the east, take some of this land from Milan, and take some of this land from... Could we possibly sneak in for a very quick war? No. I think we'll have to wait. Bide our time a little bit more. This is unfortunate. I had not anticipated that the Papal State would be so aggressive so early on. This is just proof that the Holy Father does not want to see a united Italy under a more benevolent hand. Just cruelly conquering all of Ferrara. Unconscionable. Utterly unconscionable. Now, the Luccan people are unfortunately galvanized by the Emperor's demand for unlawful territory and have decided that they're going to try and revolt against us. Ah! Look at that. What timing. Luckily, because the Emperor has decided that he is actually a bloody hypocrite, he has decided that he wants to be our ally. This is an excellent ally to have early on, if only because we need him to stop meddling in our affairs. This will certainly keep him out of our affairs. Unfortunately, it might inject us into a few of his own, but what are you going to do? That might mean we should also look into an alliance with Austria, as they will, or with Hungary, as they will undoubtedly be on the same side as Austria in many of their wars, and frankly, more military is simply better. We'll let the Hungarians die for wars on our behalf. Let's see. The siege of Milan has been abandoned by the Swiss for whatever reason. We go. We'll just get our alliance right now. Ta-da! Provence has officially lost their war. Let's see. Do we gain a diplomatic insult casus belli on Urbino, which doesn't seem very worth it. They're a vassal right now, which means we'd have to declare war on the entire Papal State, which unfortunately would drag in France now, since the French have decided that their devoutness knows no bounds. Ugh, bastards. So we shall try to ease the tension. Cosimo is not without some political savvy, so we'll try and get those around us to be much more happy with the situation. And lo and behold, they are. Even the Papal State is a little bit happier, I imagine, but, you know, you can never tell, really. Go, we'll fabricate a claim on Corsica. We want to get, again, as many claims as we possibly can. Damn, Hungary has unfortunately accepted a military alliance with the Papal State. This is not boding well. It's possible that we could get an alliance with Venice. Again, we'll want their territory eventually, and the fact that Austria may as well want their territory would make that a precarious alliance at best. Once again, we have the chance to keep an election. The term is up for Cosimo. With enough support, he can stay in office, but then he must defeat his 3 primary competitors, which will be very easily done when you have something like, oh, I don't know, a secret organization at your back. Cosimo it is. And once again, we simply get to flourish under his command. For those of you who didn't tune into the first video, once again, I apologize for the lack of music. I don't want to fiddle with more of my settings about it, and I have the Sabaton pack in there, meaning that playing the music in this video without their permission would be copyright infringement, and they're not very you know, most people aren't very happy about it. And frankly, I don't want to screw... They've risen up, but it appears that they've attacked us in a defensible position. They have less soldiers than we do. It's a rout. A simple, easy rout. Milan has now accepted a military alliance with the Papal State. Interesting. It appears we're being shoved into a corridor here. We're surrounded on all sides by people who don't like us. However, Venice has lost their capital to peasant rebels, and they're simply not taking it back. Interesting. Genoa would take an alliance, but unfortunately they're our only avenue for expansion right now, unless the Papal State gets hit by something very, very hard, very, very quickly. This is decidedly not good. France, for a time, it appears, had turned around their war. I'll have to think a little bit more about what our next course of action is. We should definitely make sure that Austria is as happy with us as possible. Let's see. Hungary doesn't seem to care that we've rivaled the Papal State. Tunis has declared us as their rival. Truly, Tunis. Truly. What a misshapen, horrid country. We'll go down there eventually and sort them out, but... for now, we're going to set our barks to patrol to protect trade, rout out some of those damn pirates. We don't need this many transports. Just doing some basic fleet maintenance, making sure that everything is in readiness. There we are. Coastal provinces are working on building ships, putting people to work in both Lucca and Siena. Should surely distract them for the time being. Now, while they're distracted, we should continue thinking of paths to war. Savoy might not be a bad ally, actually. They're rival to Genoa and Milan. Milan, who has just taken a great deal of territory, who unfortunately is allied to Aragon and the Papal State. Ugh. But that means that we might be drawn into a war with Genoa, which we truly, truly want. Venice, it seems, have recovered all of their provinces. Yay for them, I suppose. All right, we're going to go ahead and try and get an alliance with Savoy, actually. Oh, nope. Would they still take it? They would still take it. Interesting. They're also allied to Venice. Nope, now they wouldn't because they appear to have caught our agent. Damn! I'll have to execute that man when he returns. Interesting. Venice would take an alliance. I'm inclined to take that alliance now. It would be a prudent move to have more allies in the area. We'll improve relations with them in a little bit. The only other claim we can have is Roma, but it would be too brazen at this time to try and take the very Holy See out from underneath the Papal State. It would be too brazen at this point to even attack the Holy See directly, let alone try and take their very capital, the very holy city of Christianity in the West. Troubling. Troubling. So, looking at the diplomatic map mode, or rather the opinion map mode, yes, we are not popular with our neighbors. Papal State has gone very aggressive very early, annexed their vassal, and taken out an entire Holy Roman Prince. Our neighbors to our north are not fans of us. Luckily, at least Venice seems to be of some mind to keep us around for a time. It appears we're being backed into a corner. We'll have to fight our way out eventually. But for now, it may be a little bit of waiting. We're going to keep fabricating some claims, continue improving relations while we attempt to figure out what the next step might be. I think, again, reaffirming myself, our next war will have to be with Genoa. Of course, they've now allied Hungary. Damn. Our next war might actually have to be hoping that someone calls us into a defensive war. We'll bide our time, improve ourselves internally, and see if we can't make a diplomatic situation favor us. We have been discovered in Savoy. There's no point in trying to continue that. I'd forgotten that. We'll try... No, we won't try again just yet. We will try and fabricate a claim on Aragon. They hold land that is technically within Italy, and frankly, that doesn't sit very well with us. Let's see. Unfortunately, Austria isn't going to war anytime soon. What did France lose in that war? Apparently not much. Very well. Well, just because Austria and France may never have an alliance, that doesn't mean that we cannot necessarily ally France. The only situation in which that might be bad is if if France makes a foolhardy notion and attacks England for its Normandy provinces, which calls Austria in. Again, a very tricky situation we found ourselves in. I didn't expect the Papal State to be so brazen, is the word I think I'll use. But for those of you who are not aware, jumping out of character real quick since there's not much going on. Bourgeoisie request privileges. The bourgeoisie class has grown increasingly resentful of the power of the noble families, in particular their lack of opportunities in the higher ranks of government. Their only route into power is to marry into poor but well-titled noble families or pry open positions in government circles. Should we grant the burghers some privileges, or should we deny the burghers some privileges? Now, we can either lose 50 diplomatic or 50 administrative power. We're currently nearing our cap on our diplomatic power. That weighs in favor of us. What do the loyalty maps look like? The nobility are currently bonused loyalty right now, so we could lose a little bit with them. Burghers would gain loyalty. I think that's actually all in all right for us. We'll grant them loyalty. Plus, it's important to raise up new men who share our way of viewing the world. And where better to find those types of people than, say, the bourgeoisie? People who are ambitious, with upward mobility and wish to change the world around them. Mantua has succumbed to its peasant rebels. How common, how predictable. I was saying something before, wasn't I? I don't remember quite what it was. For those of you who haven't played the game before, or for those of you who have but have never really quite played as Florence or quite paid attention to the Italian peninsula. We get to elect Cosimo again. Yes, our Republican tradition will dip a little bit low, but there's no point to not elect him. He's led us so well so far. Yes. Take some national ideas, upgrade our military units with some new training. Now, we must choose idea groups for our nation. I think one of the wisest opening moves might be to make diplomatic ideas. One of our first motions will have to be getting people outside of the Italian peninsula to favor us. And that way they will help us in wars, they will not respond to wars against us, and we will simply be able to take more land with fewer repercussions. I think this is the smart move. Yes, we'll hire an additional diplomat. And with the additional diplomat and the additional diplomatic corps staff, we are now able to maintain an additional relationship. So we're going to go ahead and improve relations with Hungary while we finish up these two other projects. But to finally finish what I was saying, to those of you who haven't played in the Italian peninsula before, Florence can turn into two countries. The first country it can turn into, unfortunate, influenza. Influenza has broken out at one of our ports. Unfortunately, we're going to have to quarantine the port and let them die. That's Siena. That's doubly unfortunate, but oh well. Now, what shall we do? Improve relations with Genoa for diplomatic reputation or for diplomatic power? I think we'll do it for diplomatic power. What an alternate strategy might look like, unfortunately, is we may have to ally Genoa, despite all of our claims on their land. Unfortunate, our general has died. Well, we've just gone to the next technology level. Our power is going to waste. Oh my goodness, Giancarlo Lessi, very good for this era. Very, very good. Florence, I'm going to pause it so that I don't get interrupted. Florence can turn into two countries. The first country they can turn into is Tuscany. Not since the days of the Margraviate of Tuscany has a single power controlled as much of the Tuscan lands as we do. Let us adopt a new title to better reflect our new standing among the states of Italy. That's literally, they turn from a republic into a kingdom, and we have all the land we need to do that right now, actually. We need to own Arezzo, Firenze, and Pisa. We have all of those. And we must own one of the following, Lucca or Siena, and we own both of them. So we actually own all of, I believe, if I look at this and I look at cultures... Yes, we own all of the Tuscan land. To the north of us is Romagnan, to the south of us is Umbrian, Neapolitan, Sicilian, Ligurian, Piedmontese, Lombard, Venetian. Those are all of the different groups of the Italian culture group. We own all Tuscan land, so naturally we should be Tuscany. Unfortunately, we simply don't have the capacity, switching back into character now, we unfortunately don't have the capacity to justify such a switchover, nor the personnel to maintain peace in the event of the natural unrest that would take place upon finding out that a republic converts into a monarchy. Once that happens, however, that will be greatly favorable to us, as a monarchy is so much easier to predict than the whims of a republic. All right. Now, we are improving relations with Genoa. That is simply to gain a little bit more diplomatic power as we gain credibility abroad for making peace with neighbors who might once have feared us. Irrationally, I might add. Irrationally feared us. Now, once that happens, it might actually be worth our time to ally Genoa. Genoa itself has had claims made upon it by multiple other nations, but it might be worth our while to Aragon is allied to Austria. Damn. Austria is simply allying all of the wrong people for our purposes, and that's becoming rather disconcerting. But it might be worth allying Genoa, at least for the time being, to kind of counteract the tripartite of alliances that have been made here between the Papal State and Venice and Mantua. Ah. Pope Benedictus is owned by France. Interesting, interesting, interesting. But as I was saying, it might still be worth it to try and ally France. Perhaps not. This is indeed a very, very tricky situation. But unfortunately, that is time, so that gives me a little bit more time to plot the future of Florence. I'm sorry that not much happened in this video, but we have to do a little bit more administrative work while we figure out what our next moves will be. I hope you all have enjoyed this video. I hope you all tune in next time. As always, like, comment, subscribe, give me a few pieces of feedback. Obviously, these are the first of my videos, so I'm looking to kind of improve the craft. And if you guys want to see a different video, have some ideas for things you want to see in the future, please feel free to let me know. Have a great day.